welcome to another installment of Rhealism and the Rhealism channel on Rhealism.com, whichever way you choose to visit me today. My name is Rhea Petrie. I'm excited to see you again, or I'm excited to meet you if this is the first time that you're coming across this here channel. So to not assume that you already know who I am and what I'm all about, this channel has a few different purposes, but I'll say the overall brand and the overall purpose for what I aim to do as Rhealism, the coach, the host, the question connoisseur, is to just provide some good dialogue about real life, real love, real people, and real relationships. And baby, today we're going to talk about real love in honor of my favorite day. Actually, it's not my favorite day. I'd be lying to you. In honor of I don't know where it is on the list. It's one of my favorites. Definitely not. That would be my birthday. That would be Thanksgiving. I have some other days that come above this one. But in honor, I'll say this, of my favorite topic, which is love, and that is the truth. Favorite topic to talk about is love. So in honor of my favorite topic to talk about, which is love, in which the United States seems to celebrate on February 14th, in honor of that special day that we just passed, I want to talk about real love tonight. And so it's President's Day. Happy President's Day. Which president do you love? Not going to ask that question because 44 on mine, people. But nevertheless, we're in a special juncture because we just passed the day that the world celebrates love. And on this day, I was inspired this week, particularly in light of Valentine's Day and in light of the brand here, which I was getting to. I'm with y'all, people. I got to point to this. Is that I hope to convey a few things with my channel or with my blog. So I do have a blog. Let me go ahead and do a shameless plug. So I have two things. I have a YouTube channel, which you might be visiting me on now. And I also have a blog on my website. So it's Rhealism, www.rhealism. You can click on blog and visit me there. But one of the things that I aim to do, and the reason why when people ask me, like, so what is it all about? I'm like, real life, real love, real people, real relationships. So I love to talk. I love to dialogue with other people. And one of the things that I hope to convey with this channel and with my brand and with the blog or anything that I do, whatever you see me write, speak, say, hear, ask, it's all going to be with a particular goal in mind. And so what that goal encompasses is clarity, self-awareness, enlightenment, and then ultimately freedom. So you've heard me mention, maybe you haven't if it's your first time visiting me, the freedom movement. That is something I believe I'm called to do, is to help others to get into a more free space after I have overcome certain blockages and stuck areas. So I do believe it's my calling. I believe it's my purpose, and I'm excited to share with you today. So there's a little bit about me, who I am, what I do, how I do it, what I'm passionate about. So let's talk about the topic today. So guys, who wants to know what the topic is? I do. We're talking about my favorite topic, which is love. But in thinking about, what I described as my goal with the brand, with anything that I write, that I say, that I ask in an interview, whatever medium that I'm, working in, my goal is to bring about that clarity, to bring about that self-acceptance, self-understanding, that enlightenment, and that ultimate freedom. I thought, hey, anything that we desire in life, it starts with us, okay? It starts with you. So tonight's topic, in honor of the love we desire in us, is going to be, what kind of lover are you? What kind of lover are you? That's what we gonna talk about. Let's talk about it. So I forgot to mention, in case you guys are wondering how I go about this clarity and this self-awareness and this enlightenment and this freedom, what methods do I do that? Well, I'm a life and relationship coach. I'm a host. If you guys have any events that you might need a host for, I moderate panels, facilitate groups, whatever. I work with individuals. Holla at your girl. I got a lot of different hats that I wear. But yeah, that's me. That's how I do it. That's the method. Soon to be author. Come on and pray for me so I can finish this first book. Please, come on, 2020. You guys keep your eyes open because it's coming. But yeah, all of those different mediums and platforms is what I hope to allow God, because this is all divinely by his grace, but allow him to use me in those mediums to share and shed the light and receive light, because it's therapeutic for me as well. So, I just want to point out something real quick. Can we talk about how the topic was sitting right here next to me? Yes, of course, I strategically placed it there. But yeah, love. Let's talk about some love real quick because this is actually already here. I didn't even have to put it there. It just happened to be. Sometimes things just work together for the good. But nevertheless, this is our topic tonight. So why don't we read what it says? Love, an intense emotion of affection, warmth, fondness, and regard towards a person or thing. Shout out to my pillow right there that helped us make this thing plain. But you know what motivated me to talk about love? So obviously Valentine's Day. I know love is a topic that since I was in high school, I can think of being, and I talked about this in a former video about purpose and how I came to own my purpose and how I came to know what my purpose was. But love is just always something that I have come to realize that as human beings, the aspect of it just enriches our life, and then the trauma to it completely affects areas of our lives all over. So it's just such a common thread. It's such an undercurrent, an anchor to me that's worth putting time into discussing. So let's discuss so that we can see what's up with that thing. And so as a starting point, I was kind of vacillating. I always try to come up with content and think about stuff that's relevant, that's real. And again, my name is Rhea. Rhealism is the thing that I believe was kind of divinely aligned with me. The brand, the definition of realism, which is a person who understands what's real and possible in a situation, and not only understands what's real and possible, but can come up with solutions in an effective and practical way. And by golly darn it, that would be me. So I just feel honored and grateful to even step into this new space because it's who I am. And that who I am, which I talked about last week in my video, has truly traveled with me no matter what title I've held. So I'm excited to talk about this stuff because as I have come into my journey, especially with love, baby, I might want to take a moment of silence for my journey of love. Jeez, and that's good and bad. Sometimes you got to take a moment of silence for the good and the bad because you ain't where you were and you just so excited about where you're going. I'm just, Okay, so anyway, let me not detract. So that's the motivation for the topic tonight. And, you know, one of the things that I was doing when I was coming up was like I was coming up with points and questions and points and questions. Again, I'm a question connoisseur. So I thought, why not just let the people know some questions that I've had to ask myself or some ways that I found my own personal enlightenment along my love journey. So let's talk about it. Y'all ready? Who's ready? I'm ready. Let's go. First question is, what kind of environment, when you think about an environment and atmosphere, so what kind of environment are you providing for love to grow in? So when you think about yourself, if you were a garden, we'll just use that as an example. If you were a space, I think sometimes it's easy to conceptualize like a physical place, but if you were that place that love can come and reside in, what would that environment be like? Would it be free-flowing and busy? Would it be quiet? Would it be peaceful? Would it be hectic? Would it be unpredictable? You know, one day it's this, one day it's that. Would it be completely filled, like just always popping, a whole bunch going on, blah, 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 you know, is it always, you know, all over the place? Is the place really orderly and systematic and boom, 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 all I's crossed, T's crossed, I's dotted? Always mix those two up. But is it very structured? What is your environment? How do you create an environment for love to grow? Do you have a lot of rules and checklists? Is it just a free-for-all? Like, hey. And even if it's not connecting with you yet, what I had to ask myself and notice is that, you know, sometimes in relationships, people have expectations and they might say, oh, you know, well, this is what I want. I want a person to do blah, 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 blah. So that when I work with them, whether it's on a coaching basis or even in just discussion, or even when looking at myself, like I said, this is a lot of the stuff that I talk about is stuff that I have personally experienced. But I had to say, okay, Rhea, what is the environment that you are expecting love to grow in? Is it a lot of judgment? Is it freedom? Is there acceptance there? What is it? What is it? You know, so ask yourself that question, like, what is the kind of environment that love can grow in with you? And so I know one time, and I won't be long-winded on this, but I know that I received a personal revelation at some point in my love journey, and it was regarding the environment and my communication style with the other person. And I'm thinking like, well, gosh, like it's always like this, and I just wish it would be like that. And I felt such a strong, the revelation that I got from that was like, you know what, Rhea, you be the good environment. Don't expect the other person to give you something. Why don't you do that? Why don't you model that? So that's kind of the first point, is like, once you assess, okay, what kind of environment am I bringing forth to whether allow the love to grow or not allow the love to grow? And what am I contributing to the environment to make it be that way? Question number one. Because an important point that I forgot to mention is that why it's important for us to realize what kind of environment we're creating is we can oftentimes come off way different than who we think we are. So we can be thinking, oh, I'm kind, I'm important, I'm smart, I'm kind, I'm important. But then how the other person experiences you could be totally different. You could come off stinking the joint up. You could come off harsh, cold. You can come off kind of hard to read. Some people believe, oh, I'm such a clear communicator and I say what I mean and I mean what I say. But how that partner experiences them, it isn't always, the way the intended person does. And then conversely, how you come off, it doesn't define who you are. But I just know I've seen that so much, even in my own self, honey, as clear and proud and loud and proud that I consider myself to be in different relationships. It's like people can experience you in different ways. So it's really just more about understanding how you come off. Of course, we all say we know who we are. Some people don't, because it's an evolving journey. But, to me, I think that's kind of what made me want to think about that. Whenever there's not an alignment between who we think we are and how we're coming off, it's worth kind of taking a step back to be like, wait a minute, okay, this is the outcome I keep getting. So am I really coming off with the way that I think, or in what I'm conveying out my mouth? If it's constantly not landing in the way that I intended it, then whose fault is it? Is it the person's fault or is it your fault? Answer is it could be either one. It's not a fault thing in the first place. But again, my goal is always for us to be self-aware, to have that enlightenment, to have that clarity, and then of course to have that freedom in case there's any unnecessary weights, unnecessary blocks, any of that, because it's not productive. Hello, we ain't gonna get where we gotta go if we got these random weights, okay? So that's my little nugget on that. So another inspiration or motivation for me, I am a Christian, as I talked about, and I do reference scriptures a lot of time in these videos, not to preach at anybody, because baby, you can have any belief that you want or none at all, but I do think there's virtue, and again, I'm just sharing my experience, but there's a scripture in 1 John 4:18, and it talks about there's no fear in love, because perfect love drives out fear. And it also talks about fear expects punishment or torment, some renditions will say. And it says that the one who fears has not been made perfect in love. And so though there is no perfect love, and in this tense, for something to be perfected, it just means like worked out. So I remember when that revelation hit me, I was in a relationship at the time, and there was a lot of fear. And I love, there's a few key words in that scripture that stand out, and one would be punish. Some renditions talk about fear equating to punishment. Another one was torment. And I will say, as we engage with each other in these videos, we get to share. This is like therapy for me. But for those of you who might have struggled with trust or have any issues of being heartbroken or any kind of trauma in your relationship history, whenever there's fear present, there is a certain element of torment there. And so the point that I want to make is, is there fear present in your relationship? Is there fear present within you, even if you're not in a committed relationship? But is fear motivating your actions or inactions? Guarding that heart. Not Wakanda. We talking about guarding the heart when I do this. But yeah, if there's any fear present, you'll hear a lot of people say that like fear and faith can't coexist. But, the reality is a lot of us roll around here saying, I believe in love, I believe. But then when someone gets in that personal space, it's like, you got the side eye, or, you're fearful to commit, or you're fearful that they won't commit to you, or whatever. Fear is just a mess. Let's abolish fear in 2020. But nevertheless, I just wanted to use this as an example, because if there is fear, again, regardless of what your spiritual beliefs are, it's worth talking about. It's worth working on. It's worth peeling back the layers to be like, what am I afraid of? Like, what is the worst possible outcome because all fear does is it causes you to protect yourself or causes you to be guarded in certain areas. So again, all of this is just about asking certain questions to get the ball moving and rolling But that scripture for me in my love journey, baby, when that thing came on, it was like God shined a light from up above. And I was like, dang, I've been like this. And I've been like this. Baby, with some blocks up in there. And honey, we are all a work in progress. So I'm not sitting here before you a perfect woman by any means. But what I am allowing is God to perfect love in me. And I made a conscious decision once that light bulb came on, like, whoa. I don't want to be motivated by fear. I don't want to be stuck, and seeing the same cycle occur because of my fear. That just is for the birds, baby. That's Black history, okay? So anyway, question to ask yourself in that. Are you afraid? Is fear present in your relationship? If it is, let's get that thing. Let's get that thing out of there, okay? Let's do it. So another great question to ask yourself is, are there any blocks to you receiving the love that you desire? So I just gave an example with this last one. Clearly this is a block. Can't nobody get up in here, okay? I'm like, ain't nobody gonna get up in there. Is there a block there? Now, you might not consciously know this. Sometimes we don't consciously know, oh yeah, there's a block and this is what it is and this is where it came from. I mean, hey, that's what gives people like me a job and a space and an opportunity to navigate through that stuff, to see. But what I want you to ask yourself is, if there are blocks, if there are things, like for instance, people will say, oh, I just want to love like this. I just want this. I just want this. And then, someone approaches you, or, the universe or God or whatever might align you with that. And then you can't receive nothing. They try to do this, and it's not good enough. Or they try to love you in whatever way they know how to love. And it's like, boom, 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 boom. That barrier, that shield is up. So, again, these questions are more so food for thought. Is there anything blocking you? I know another thing that was notorious, I would say for me, sometimes we put a storyline with love. We might attach a storyline to a person, a particular personality type. We might have had something happen in the past. And so because of that storyline, it hurt us, whatever the outcome was. A plus B equals C. So I know one thing, I won't never allow A plus B and C to happen. But even those things, sometimes old patterns or old wounds, they can just carry right along with us. And that thing can block us, baby, okay? Sometimes we keep people in spaces way longer than they should be. It's like you keeping something in your refrigerator and it's way past that expiration date. And sometimes you might open that thing up and be like, oh, it done stunk up the whole joint. So imagine that in the space of your heart, in the space of your life. If you've got a person, a toxic relationship, somebody that they expiration date long expired, but you keeping them in that space, guess what? That's blocking you. That's blocking something healthy from coming in. So y'all roll with me. Sometimes these imagery things come up and it just helps bring that point. It helps bring that point right on home. So let's think about that. It's worth discovering whether or not there is a block there, because guess what? We want to get them blocks out the way. We want to get free. Get them chains. Break them chains off your neck, okay? So sometimes in exploring if there's any blocks, sometimes we will say that we want a particular kind of love. We'll say, I want this kind of love, or I want a person to be like this. Are we being that? So are we say, oh, I want, sweet and kind and warm love. Well, are we being sweet and kind? Or are we throwing that fire when we open our mouth? Are we like, boom, 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 like, let's go. Is this us? Are we like, let's go? Or are we like, let's go. Let's go. Is that you? I mean, it's worth exploring, people. Like, are you putting out what you want? And granted, I was just talking about this. We all have different love languages. We all have different love styles. So it is important to realize what your style of love. Hey, when I want to show you love, this is what I would do. Or hey, and this actually leads me to my other point. Come on, alignment. So with that, other than saying like, are you being what you say that you want? The last thing that I want to say and highlight and illustrate and ask is, what kind of environment? So sometimes, people will say, well, I want this kind of love or whatever. I might ask a specific question if I'm working with a couple or with a client. I say, well, describe what you want. Well, I don't know. Well, guess what? If you don't know, the other person's not a mind reader, and we all come with our own conditioning, our own background, our own socialization, or the way that we've been conditioned to love. So if perhaps you meet someone that way of being does not line up, you guys might just be totally different, then it does help to do some self-exploration as an individual to say, okay, they might just say, oh, I know I want that. I know what I don't want. I don't want that. I don't want that, but I'm not clear about what I do want. So even if you can't fill in the blank for that in terms of like what you do want, what I do want to ask you is, and this is our last little question, is what kind of environment feels safe for you to love? So if I were to ask you to describe, like, what would your perfect day be? You'd be able to say, oh, okay, I listen to music, I go to the beach, I'll, be alone, or I'll be with friends. For me, I'd be in some deep conversations, some music would be there, some, good energy, good people. I might have a part of the day where I was alone because I dig my alone time for sure. So yeah, what kind of environment feels safest for you to love? And so that's some little tidbit of a homework assignment for you. It's just to be like, you know what? It's hard when you're in a partnership of any kind and the other person is saying, well, you know what? This ain't working for me. Okay, well, what will work? Well, I don't know. Well, clearly you got to know something. You know what feels good. You know what doesn't feel good. So this homework assignment is really for us to all, I'm going to include myself, what kind of environment, what kind of love atmosphere feels safe? What is like, ooh, ideal? Just put some words to it. Describe it. Is it warm? Is it nurturing? Is it trusting? Is it accepting? Is it encouraging? Is it motivating? Is it challenging? A lot of people have those things where, they desire somebody that's going to challenge them, Is it, whatever words, fill in the blank. There's plenty of blanks to fill. But just think about you, what you need to thrive. Is there friendship present or not? Any of those things is there. Whatever. Let's fill in the blanks, guys. But, the clearer that we can become about who we are, the clearer we can become about what you want and what you bring to the table, I believe the closer that you'll become to the outcome that you want, whether that be individual, personal happiness and success, or relationship happiness and love, success. So that's my little tidbit. Just some questions, food for thought, again, about love and about what kind of lover are you. As we aim to love and have the love that we desire, it all starts with us first. So ask yourself, what kind of lover are you? Boo. Peace.